Hi, hello there to you all. This is part 2 of a video blog I'm doing about a book I'm working on. The first video that I made last month might not have come across so well as it was a little bit incoherent, as I do tend to write and produce things in a kind of gonzo style. Same when I go painting. You might notice I do a lot of painting as well as abstracts. And anyway, I am making an effort to do the videos a little bit better from now on. I even have a page here to help me out, and I might do a proper script next month. And anyway, I also like to mention that thanks to the people who are looking at the videos, it's always nice when someone browses in and have a look around. And if anyone wants to say anything, they can say something as well. It's no big deal. And it doesn't quite matter where you're living in the world. You could be from the Bales beyond outer space. It doesn't really matter too much at all. Anyway, we'll get right down to it before I get sidetracked again. And this is part 1 of the book, and it's basically about a homeless guy in his 50s or 60s. It's deliberately not terribly clear at times, and he's after coming back from France, and he's been stuck in a city, an unnamed city, and he's homeless, but it's not a conventional homeless person. There's no evidence that he has alcohol problems or drug problems or tendencies towards violence or bad language or anything like that. He's in fact there's indicators that he has something of a kind of middle class kind of background, and he spent most of his life in France, working over there. And when he came back and he realized he knew that he was going to have to make up a story about himself and who he is and where he's from and what he spent his life doing, because he cannot tell people the truth. We'll deal with that later on as the book goes on. And part of his big problem is while his physical health is okay, his psychological health is not so good. And he has a tendency to see shadows everywhere. We're talking about bodiless shadows now, shadows that, not everybody will see. Some people will see them, not everybody will see them. He sees them, and he isn't quite too sure what they're about and what they're doing. And sometimes he gets the general feeling that they're harassing him, even though it's not always that case. And the shadows are meant to kind of go in the direction of, how can you put it, the afterlife, spectres, the ancient realms, and things like that. And they do reoccur as the book goes on as well. They come up in numerous other subplots as well. So they do take part in the entire series. And anyway, the homeless guy, he finds himself in the city, and he does get help from someone, as nearly everybody needs help somewhere along the line in the world. Not everybody makes it on their own, and this guy gets help from the Salvation Army. And what he isn't aware of is somebody in the Salvation Army has their own reasons for helping him. And that is another thing that is not terribly clear. It's deliberately not clear. Sometimes make things ambiguous because, you're meant to use your own head to try to figure out what's really going on here. Kind of, use a bit of brain power, the grey cells and so on. And the Salvation Army guy does help him out. And he gets him a place to live, a home, a council house, a council flat somewhere. And just before he leaves the streets and moves into this home, he finds a stray puppy which he adopts. And that actually is a very minor subplot. But you might notice it also helps him a great deal when it comes to psychological problems, because animals have a funny old way with the world that humans don't always appreciate. And anyway, more subplots in this part of the book would indicate that there is a contemporary of his in France who's taken his job, much younger and much physically fit, and not too many problems going on. And the reason he was in France doesn't really become clear until about part 10, and that's again deliberate. So I'll just give you a rundown of what part 1 is all about. It's a prequel. I should have mentioned that earlier on. It's not the end of the book, but it does give you an idea of what's going on for the rest of it. And it's basically, like I said, a homeless guy in a big city. He's come back from France and he's trying to make his way in the world. And he gets help from the Salvation Army guy. And he gets himself set up in the council house. You know, I won't really detail what he does for money and things like that, because that turns up later on in the book as well as part of another subplot. And my notes, I'm not even bothering to look at them. Typical of me. I got my notes there and I'm not looking at them. Anyway, never mind. We're coming up to the end of the video now anyway. I usually keep the videos to 6.5 minutes or something like that. And as I said, my style of writing is like my style of art. I just throw things out there and I put it together as it occurs in my head. I think the writing style would be kind of, what do they call it? See to the pants kind of writing style or something like that. And anyway, that's pretty much how I do things. And thanks again for everybody looking in. And if you have any comments to make, do make your comments. It doesn't quite matter what you want to say. You know, I might reply, I might not reply, it doesn't matter. And hopefully next month I'll turn out part 3, unless I win the lottery, then I'll immigrate someplace nice and warm. But I'll keep plugging away otherwise. And that's it. Thank you. Bye.